Hey, Wildcat fans, a little bit different today as we're standing by not with one of the players, but with one of our goal judges. You may recognize him around the building. This is Ben Brown. Ben, thanks so much for talking to me today.
You're welcome, Matt. Thank you for having me.
Oh, glad to do so. You've got an interesting story to tell. You've been involved with this team for a long time and involved in other teams as well, as we can tell by your sweater as well. So, for anyone who doesn't know you, give me a little bit of the background and what you do as a high performance athlete.
Well, I do the sport of para-athletics and wheelchair racing, so I do track and field predominantly. My events are the 100, the 400, the 800, and the 1500 meter in the T53 category, which is athletes with full upper body use but minimal to no trunk use, as far as the 100 up to the 800. And then I'm thrown in with the T54s, which are athletes with everything minus leg use. And I'm trying to get to the Paralympics at Tokyo this summer.
Yeah, and you've had some big adventures in the past. Just the suit you've got on right now, that was from the Pan Am's runs in Lima, Peru.
Yes, correct. I've represented Canada so far 3 times at major events. One was the first one was 2015 Pan Am's in Toronto, where I finished 4th in the 100 meter, just missing bronze by we're talking that much.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next year I was fortunate enough to get invited to the London Anniversary Games in front of 30,000 people, where I had my last shot to make the Rio Paralympics, and unfortunately that did not happen. But to race in front of 30,000 people with some of the top guys in the world, it was a great experience. And then, as you said, last summer I represented Canada at the Lima Pan Am's. In the 100, 400, 800, and 1500 meter, I was the one wheelchair racer that declared that got selected. So it was a big honor. Just unfortunately, I didn't perform where I was expected to. I was expected to come home with at least 3 medals, and it just didn't happen. I hit a little burnout, had some equipment issues, and we've made changes to the training program since then that's allowed me to actually perform better. And one of those changes was hard gloves. They're like a prosthetic fist, you could say, versus the soft gloves that you used to see me run around with, which are like a boxer's mitt. I'll still use them in the rain and still use them in the 100 meter, but for the 400 and up, the hard gloves are much better. And right now, the way training's going, I'm on the right path to crack top 8 to top 10 in the world in one of my events that will get me selected for Tokyo.
All right. Well, you've got goals set and lots of hard work ahead. Again, I know you said coming out of Peru was a little bit of a disappointment, but a lot of things going on. And I mean, you mentioned just equipment issues. Like, you're in a much different situation than I think most of us would think, because other guys that are running just have shoes. You have a lot more things that you have to take into account.
Yes, with our race chairs, we have the frame itself, steering components, wheels, tires, and what happened was, and I still use them for training because they're good enough to train with, is my wheels got worn out after, and I know this is going to be a shocking number, but over 8,000 kilometers. The wheels now have probably close to 11,000 or more kilometers on them. And what I decided to do is, once I got some funding, is get a new set of wheels, which I currently have. They're just sitting in my wheel bag for travel because I am not using them unless I'm racing, because I don't want to beat those to death until these ones are literally to the point of unusable use.
Right.
And with the hard gloves, like I said, what it's allowed me to do with hard gloves, the biggest thing is where they're solid, the energy transfer is more efficient. Therefore, once you get up to speed, it's easier to maintain and to give you some extra, numbers. In the case of the training camp we just had in Florida last month, prior to Christmas, mind you, the trail was flat, or it was pretty much flat, unlike where I train here on Brooklyn Street on the road. I did a half marathon split on my own in 54:10, and normally I do a half marathon in 57 mid to 59 mid minutes. So that gives, yes, I didn't have to climb any hills, but it was just able to transfer that better. Last Thursday, we were on the indoor track doing 400s in the first 4 out of the 5. I kept it under 57 seconds, and to do that on an indoor track, which is 200 meters around versus an outdoor 400, I've never done that prior, because if I tried to do that with soft gloves, to go under 57 with soft gloves was always a challenge because of the extra energy I needed to do so. And that made change with push rim rubber, just a few minor things. And I mean, our approach is really 100 percent focused on the 4 and the 800, because not that I'm not going to be good anymore at the 100. It's just the 4 and the 8 is the events that has been consistently improving over the last few years, where the 100 keeps just going up and down. And I really like the 800. It's a fun event. I have Paralympic trials at the end of June, and if I'm selected, I'm heading down south to be in unbearable heat this summer, because Tokyo will be unbearably hot.
You mentioned funding
Yes.
a little while ago, talking about the equipment, you've got travel. How do you make this all possible to, chase your goals?
I do have some sponsors, but also I have like some national funding and provincial funding. But the other thing is I do have to have do a lot of fundraising. We figured out is at least $15,000 this year for travel, training camps, and equipment as well. Like, because not that I should go through wheels, because wheels are $2,500 and definitely shouldn't have to go through a frame. But tires are $55 to $125, $135 a pop, right? And you never know when you're going to have a tire flat, so you have to have those kind of things. Gloves, fortunately, these ones, my hard gloves, I just have to replace the rubber, which is not too bad, but again, you just have to keep on top of that stuff. And it's not that I can't compete locally, it's just there's very few and far between racers in Atlantic Canada, and the best tracks and the best competition is overseas.
You're here a lot. You're always at the rink. You've been a face that we've recognized around the rink for a long time now, as you've been a gold judge basically as long as the team's been in Berwick. So this is season 6?
Yeah, season 6. I mean, I've been, since the major midgets came here in Berwick in 2011.
Okay,
I've
even
been
longer.
involved. So I mean, I love the program. I see what it does for. I'm big into high performance sport and local athletes, getting to that next level, and the Wildcats program provides that opportunity. And it's a great program. You can see, going up from the major Bantam all the way up to Junior A. And what the great thing about the Junior A program is, it's that stepping stone for guys who want to get to major junior that just need a little fine tuning, or what I prefer actually, because I've used my national funding bonuses to help me go to school, back to school, is you go to Division 1, right? There's always that opportunity, because not everyone goes to the NHL, but you definitely should. It's nothing wrong with using sport as a tool to get your education.
I preach the same to the boys around here, that it is an opportunity for them to do that. Education is so incredibly important. What did you go back to take?
I took business at Nova Scotia Community College. I just graduated this past June. I'm starting up a business, first with a shirt line and some wheelchair racing parts, just getting those fine-tuned. But of course, with this year being the big year, it's harder to get the businesses started. So after Tokyo is over with, that's where I'm likely going to put a little more focus, and we'll go from there. And it's and hopefully, make Tokyo and represent Canada.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously, the Paralympics are the ultimate goal of where you would like to be.
Yes, and I mean, just missing out on the last one by like this much.
Mm-hmm.
This is a big kick at the can. Being 32, I have to make everything count, because it's make or break this year, and that's how I view it. But I love the pressure. I thrive under it 90% of the time. It's rare that I crack under pressure. Maybe that's just my makeup and the amount of work I put in. I justify trying to do everything I do.
All right. Well, best of luck going forward, Ben. We're cheering for you all the way.
Thank you, Matt.